Dalia Shanglin is a fellow at the Century Foundation. Joins me now via Skype from Tel Aviv. The issues at play here, or the issues at the centre of this, are not new and are at the heart of any form of negotiations, or not as there may be. But there does seem to have been a massive deterioration of an uneasy status quo, which now threatens the region.
Well, as you pointed out, these are very cyclical tensions. For those of us who live here, we are used to seeing the flashpoint of Jerusalem, generally from the area of the Temple Mount or the Al-Aqsa Mosque, oftentimes during Ramadan when there are clashes. But these problems go way back. The attempts to oust Palestinian families from East Jerusalem neighborhoods in Sheikh Jarrah is a long-running problem that generally sparks tensions. And as you pointed out, there has been no horizon for any sort of political negotiations between the two sides in many, many years, certainly none meaningful. And I think we also have to see this against the background of political crises in a way in both societies. Of course, Israel is facing a long-running, 2-year-long political crisis. The prime minister has his back to the wall, so to speak. He has been unable to form a government, and the opposition parties, or the change parties as they're calling themselves, are feverishly negotiating to try to form a coalition which would oust him from power. Some say that the escalation and the rising, the more severe security situation makes that much harder for the opposition parties, because Netanyahu generally portrays that when there is a security threat to Israel, he is the best leader. That is a sort of psychological form of pressure, but it could be that he's simply benefiting from this. Of course, if it escalates into full-blown war, many of these coalition-building processes could simply be put on hold. They are already causing tension in those negotiations.
Yeah, and the Palestinians, their leadership too, is hardly a model of stability at the moment, which leaves this vacuum which Hamas has traditionally been able to play to its best advantage, because it does have many of the social services of necessities that people seek, and therefore does find favour.
Well, you could look at it like that, but I think there's another angle to the Palestinian political crisis, which is the other side of this, and that's that the Palestinians Authority had called elections that were supposed to be held later this month, and by all accounts, Hamas wanted those elections, at least in part because of the dire situation in Gaza, which has effectively been under a siege because of Hamas's leadership there for about 14 years. Israel controls everything going in and going out. Now, Hamas has taken the brunt of the blame for that. And they are, by some accounts, they wanted to have elections so that they could possibly form a unity government afterwards and not be responsible for the deep economic and social crisis, the disastrous civilian situation in Gaza. Of course, those elections on the 29th of April were postponed indefinitely. And some would also look at Hamas's actions as a form of distraction, knowing that they weren't going to be able to, distract energy towards people exercising their right to vote.
Not in any way minimizing the death or destruction that's taken place tonight, but with your expertise, is it your feeling, thought, guidance that this blows itself out relatively quickly, or does it sort of entrench itself and get worse?
Yeah, this is really a trap to try to predict. I mean, we've seen many forms of escalation that looked a lot like this in recent years and that did eventually blow themselves out. There are many reasons to think that neither side truly wants a full-blown escalation right now. Having said that, all of the best analysis in the world can crumble sometimes under the weight of simply irrational and unstrategic decisions of some of the leaders in this region. And even if each side does not really want it to escalate into a full-blown war, of course, that's happened 3 times in the past between Israel and Hamas. I think that we will see the next 24 to 48 hours will be critical. There are many things that both sides could do to continue escalating and signaling an intention to escalate. And sometimes those moves have a dynamic of their own.
Thank you. Thank you, Dalia. Be safe, and we'll follow more up on this. Thank you.